Yo, Lucas Monocroft here from Crofty, and I'm here today to talk about all things Microsoft Teams and working remotely, especially working from home. I'm representing the Tribute brand today, which is one of our brands, but today is all around Microsoft Teams and how it can actually help you and your organization, especially your employees, go through this, I guess we call it a pitfall or crisis or whatever the media wants to call it these days, but we're trying to stay away from the negativity and actually just get on with life and get on with business and just support our clients and our staff as best as possible to get through this painful period. So I've got a few things I want to discuss today, but this is really around Microsoft Teams and how you could use this particular tool for collaboration and communication purposes. So this has been, I guess, for the last 18 months or so, Microsoft Teams has come a hell of a long way from where it was. And this is a tool that's a part of the Office 365 package, which honestly, most businesses these days already have Office 365 or a portion of it, but typically they're using it for email, contacts, calendar, that type of thing. And so one of the applications included in Office 365 is Microsoft Teams, as long as, along the lines of the other 30 applications that you also get in Office 365 that nobody seems to use or want to utilize. So the last 2 weeks, my entire world's been, upside down, pushed upside down, and most likely yours as well. So typically I've got my sales and marketing hat on, and I'm out there branding and promoting and pushing our brand as much as we can. But the last 2 weeks has been helping our clients get set up or prepared to get set up to work remotely from home. Now, the key thing is that we've been having this conversation with most of our customers and potential clients for around 6 to 12 months now. But now, obviously, there's a massive pain point that's come to fruition, which means, okay, we actually got to do something. We have no idea what the government's going to do come tomorrow. Are we all going to be forced to work from home and self-isolate, or what does that look like? So I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios here today around Microsoft Teams, how it actually can effectively, you can work from your mobile device, you can work from your computer, you can work from anywhere in the world. And we've been actively using this particular product in our business. It must be close to 2 years now, but really the only 6 to 8 months is where it's actually really benefited, because the actual technology is super, super awesome now. So I'm going to go through a few things. I'm going to do a couple of screen shares to run through with you guys. So initially, what is Office 365? So Office 365 is a suite of applications, and you've got either got your Microsoft hat on, or you've got your Google hat on. In our case, we're completely agnostic. We don't really care what technology you're using in business, as long as it's solving a problem. So Microsoft Office 365 is a suite of applications that allows your business to be more effective and to collaborate, communicate, and it's got all the tools that your organization needs to work remotely, or even if you're not even in other circumstances, if you're in an office, even to communicate more effectively and collaborate on information more effectively. So your typical Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint tools, but then you've got Planner, Flow, Automate, Teams, what we're discussing today. As I said, there's 30 odd applications included in Office 365. So the key thing to note is a lot of businesses have been using Slack, and Slack's been like the leading forefront system in the world. But what you might not be aware of is Teams, being the fact that Microsoft bought Skype many, many years ago and it developed it into what they call now Teams, has over 20 million active users. And so rivalry between Teams and Slack is quite high now. And the prediction is that Microsoft Teams is going to actually go take over Slack in the coming months to years, which is super interesting, going on the fact that Slack has been the number one go-to product for many, many moons. Australia is a little bit behind the times. I think this is across the board in every situation, where I've been chatting with a lot of MSPs or managed service providers in the US, in UK, in Europe, and they've been using Teams effectively in their business for all their phone calls. Every call that comes in and out of their help desk has been going through Teams for the last 18 months. Here in Australia, Telstra's kind of had a strong hold on the whole telecommunications network for many, many years. There is now ability to push this through Teams. We're now getting calls and questions from customers is, can they transform or transfer all their phone calls from the traditional PABX, whether it be Commander or the like, and push it through Microsoft Teams? The answer is yes. We're just not jumping in just yet because it is still a newer technology within Australia, and we want everyone else to iron out all the bugs first before going live, especially for our clients. Last thing we want to do is, you guys be affected when it comes to, phone calls dropping in and out, reception not being so good, etc., etc. So let's give it a few more months. Wait for everyone else to iron out the bugs, and then we'll start getting our clients onto Microsoft Teams for making phone calls as well. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. I just want to make sure I cover everything in a very short, quick span of time. So how can we use Microsoft Teams throughout this amazing pandemic that we currently have, and what does that look like? I mentioned already, it's around collaboration, communication. If we're going to all have our staff working from home, how do we ensure that, one, they're staying accountable, how they communicate effectively, how do we make sure that they're actually working and they're not just watching Netflix and destroying everyone else's internet throughout this time? And so there are tools within Teams to allow you to do this really effectively, right? I mentioned a few before, like Planner and Flow, for example. But the great thing about Teams is because it's a tool within the Office 365 suite, if you're on, let's call it the E3 plan, which is one of the licensing plans, the compliance that comes with it is insane. You can actually report on anything that's happening in your organization, what your people are doing, how often they're working, their active hours on their emails, on Word documents, on spreadsheets. All this can be recorded and give you a daily, weekly report, which is super cool. Not that you want to track your staff, but one of the questions over the last 2 weeks is the concerns for a lot of, I guess, leaders of organizations is, how do we know that our staff are actively and effectively working? And so you can do some cool reporting in the back end. And if you want to do some really, really pretty graphs, you can integrate any of this information into Power BI, which is also a Microsoft tool, and then do some cool reporting. So then you can, give your board members or your leadership team the information they need to then obviously start the process to manage the people. I quickly spoke about the licenses. There is a really cool thing about Microsoft Teams that they're pushing at the moment, which is kind of new, and this is a free version. So if you're not on Office 365 and you're not in the Microsoft realm, then you can get the free version, and I'll go through that in a sec. But majority of businesses that we've been dealing with are on the lower cost version, which is the $7 a month, or the Business Premium, so that's Business Essentials, Business Premium, which is $17 a month, or E3, which is $28 a month. And this is all per person per month. The main key differences to keep in mind is you're paying for actual human beings, so people who would physically be using the system. A lot of organizations have what we call shared mailboxes, which is like sales at, accounts at, info at, etc. That's all free. You don't pay for any of that. So it's just a matter of making sure you choose the right license that works for you. The big difference with E3, the $28 per month license over the other ones within Microsoft Office, is compliance. So what I mentioned earlier, can we track what our staff are doing? Can we report or do audits or do logs against any of this? So if we do have a breach in our company and we need to report a particular item either to the government or to our legal team, can we do an audit and a report on that? And with the E3 license, you can. That's why you pay the extra money. With the Business Premium license or below, you can't obviously do that. Hence the reason it's a lot cheaper. So what do you get with the free version of Teams if you're not already using it? I'm just going to quickly bring up my screen. Just give us 1 second. And so this is Microsoft Teams. And so as you can see here, the way it looks and feels on the actual particular mobile device or the landscape on your computer looks like this. So they're getting there. They're making it prettier and prettier every day. I still find that Slack is a lot better when it comes to not using up a lot of blank space. You can see there's a lot of white space on Teams, but they're slowly improving it, which no doubt will be around the corner. The cool thing about this recent launch of having Teams for free is, I guess, this is their marketing ploy, right? Get you on there, and then you'll start using all their applications. What's included in the free version of Teams? So we've got, let's say, unlimited chat and search. It's just communication, so being able to chat to your different staff member on a one-to-one basis. Video calling, so similar to what I'm doing right now. We've been using video calling. Actually, yeah, really good point. I probably should mention this. So in the last 2 weeks, really the last week, I've cancelled every single face-to-face meeting with anyone in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and I've made them all online Teams meetings. And what I've found really interesting around this is online Teams meetings is super effective. Even though I've been doing this for 18 months or so now, what I've really understood this last week is that, one, you're getting people used to using newer technology, which is cool. But the second thing is everything's straight to the point. There's no fluff. There's no how's the weather. Obviously, how's the coronavirus affecting your business right now? There's no like chit chat. It's like, cool, our meeting's locked in from 11 till 12. But typically don't even need to use an hour. We're only using 30 minutes, 40 minutes because it's straight to the point. There's no BS, which I'm finding really, really cool and effective from an organizational time management point of view when you're having meetings. So if you're not having video meetings, then yeah, definitely get onto it. So it's super effective. Alrighty, so then we go into video calling. I just mentioned team and personal file storage. So I'll touch on a bit soon, but this allows you to have, you might have heard of the SharePoint or document management in the back end of Teams, because Teams is like an interface to everything in 365 now. On the back end is SharePoint and OneDrive, so then all your files can be stored within Teams, but actually they're stored within the cloud within SharePoint, and then real-time collaboration of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. So you and your team members can all work in the same particular document, in different sections of the document, and you can collaborate literally in the document on the spot, which is super cool. So this is something I've only just recently learned. Julie, our marketing girl, found this for me today, and what's really cool is they're actually giving a lot of stuff away for free. So you'll see here, I'm looking at my screen here, so I'm looking away. You'll see here you get still what the Business Premium offers, so up to 300 users. The chat, access to Teams, files, attachments up to 2 gig per user, which is pretty cool. Files and sharings across the entire team, up to 10 gig of data, which is quite epic. What I found really interesting though, is they're giving away the free version of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint online. This has never been done before. You've always had to pay for this particular version, whether it be $6 a month or higher. And so you're getting this included, which is super cool. It's obviously not doing everything in your business. They're not giving away, email hosting and everything else you need in your business, but at least they're giving away the free collaboration tools. And I assume this is off the back of what the world's happening right now. They're trying to get everyone working remotely. We mentioned before between online audio and video calls, and obviously screen sharing like I'm doing right now. That's included. And from a security and compliance point of view, they're including data encryption. That's all they're including. So everything I talked about before, which is around this auditing and e-discovery, obviously is not included. That's only included in the larger versions. So that's pretty cool. So let me just bring my screen back a second. Cool. So I've just covered off the unlimited chat, video calling, all your personal storage, and real-time collaboration with your Office apps. The latest additions they've added to Microsoft Teams, which it doesn't mention on what I just showed you then, is private channels. So in the past, it's always been, if you have a team group, so let's call it, you have your marketing department or your sales department or your operations department, whoever's in that particular group, they see everything. But now they've really released what they call private channels. So you can have a Teams group, and then under that you have different channels. And so you can have a channel that only certain people you can add to that channel. So that's something new they've added in, which is super cool. Multi-window, I guess, collaboration within Teams. As I said, there's a lot of white space in Teams. They haven't really made that too effective just yet. Messaging extensions, task, and live captions. These must be all new features because I haven't even seen these myself yet. So I'll have to have a bit of a play and find out what these features actually do. Task is, so planner and task. So there's planner, there's task, there's to do. There's a few different add-ons that you can have within Microsoft Teams. That's within the actual system itself. And so our gut feeling is They're moving all the older technology and applications that you might have used within Outlook, moving it all across to within Teams, and eventually, and I'm not saying, and I don't want to put money on this, but eventually removing away from using Outlook, because we can do external conversations. So I can't show you because there's a lot of confidential information, but I've got a bunch of clients now on Microsoft Teams where we're communicating, we're collaborating, we're having video calls, we're sharing files, all within Teams. We're not talking on Outlook at all. Zilch, gone. So I'm not using Outlook for external communication. I'm definitely not using it for internal communication. Everything is within Teams. Hence, my gut feeling is eventually we won't need the use of Outlook. Now, that's a big call. And some of you are probably thinking, shit, I've used Outlook for 20 years. How can I go without Outlook? I'm not saying it's happening now. My gut feeling is 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That's the world. That's the way that Microsoft is pushing us to go. Which at the end of the day, if we want to embrace technology, want to embrace innovation, then I'm all for it. Anyway, I will quickly share this link with you guys so you can see the Teams free link. So you see down here, you've got, oh, which way does it go? This way here. So weird. You've got here the link to the free Microsoft Teams platform. Any questions around Microsoft Teams, how you can use it to effectively work remotely and collaborate and communicate in this, I guess, situation we're in, but not just now, in the future. Happy to jump on a call, answer any questions you may have, and help you out where we can. My last comment and point is this situation that we're in on the world stage is going to change the way we do business forever. We're now forced into a situation of working remotely from home. We're now forced into the situation of how we communicate and collaborate. The statement I read a few years ago was by 2030, so what's that, 10 years from now, 50% of the Western population will be freelancers. This here is making that happen. Whether that was a statement that was released a few years ago and then someone has, made this whole situation happen on purpose, who knows? Conspiracy. But yeah, if that was a few years ago, we've only got 10 years to go. This is helping that whole process happen a lot quicker, to have that whole 50% of the Western population be freelancers and contractors for companies rather than being employees. All right, guys, thank you very much and have an amazing day. Cheers.